When I got home today, something happened to me that has, believe it or not, happened quite a few times in the neighborhood that I reside in. I was greeted by an enthusiastic neighbor who appeared to have gotten quite lost. Tucker, bring me the visual aid. Only Weird Games listeners, do you know this dog? This dog came screaming on over when I popped open the door of the car. Renee has just gotten to the vet to get the microchip scan. Apparently this dog's name is Suki. There's no owner info on the actual chip, and if you're audio only, you're missing the picture. I'll ask you. It's a black lab with a orange kind of safety collar. It's got a reflective strip in the middle there. Healthy looking dog, well loved dog, very happy to see me and then to be walked around the block by Renee and I. We looked, frankly, I'm kind of thinking that whoever lost this dog is probably just about to get home from work here in a little bit. And right now, I know Renee's home because this lovely dog is chasing a squirrel out this window in our backyard. She looks very happy, but this isn't our dog. So, Nate, do you know that dog?
I don't. I'm sorry.
I should say I'm in South KC Mo. So if you need to triangulate here, if you or someone you know lost a black lab named Suki, they're in our backyard as we speak. If you need, I don't know, a really intelligent breakdown of Patrick Mahomes' salary restructuring, that's what the rest of this show is for.
I have no idea what today's about to bring. I wonder if any Super Bowl champion has ever benched their left tackle in 2 different games in the same season.
Everywhere. Lights come on. I need to see it, Omar.
Someone is getting snapped.
Show it.
Jazz and I have been married for 17 years.
So, Nate, what did you think about
here from the chat? First of all, from Shaman, how many legs does this dog have? Is she disqualified from Brisco ownership? Yeah, we right now between Scout and Hopper, we have 2 dogs with 7 total legs, and that's kind of where I've drawn the line for now. I saw something. Sean says, Josh, that's the type of dog we need to see on this team. I just saw her move. That was a good 40, and I feel like some safety potential perhaps from this dog. And I don't know anything beyond that other than, yes, as Pazlou notes, oh no, the lawyer isn't here for this one. Accurate as it is. Joshua Brisco, Nate Taylor, and one lost dog with you here today. No Seth Kaiser on this episode. Nate, how have you been in the last 48 hours or so? We will touch on the Rashee Rice thing here at the top and then get into the rest of the moves from these last couple days. But you've been, I would say, somewhat busy for mid-February.
Yeah, I am busy. I texted my one of my best friends, Mike Jeffries. I think it was Friday, and I just said, "Man, it's kind of a slow off season." You know, I literally told him this on Friday, and so we had lunch today, and it was fantastic. Love him to death, and that was one of the first things he said to me. We hugged, we sat down, we were ready to have our food. Boy, that escalated real quick, didn't it? Yes, it did. So would it have been helpful if the news had happened on Tuesday instead of yesterday? Sure, for the purposes of this podcast, would have been lovely. Welcome to everyone that's here, especially my guys out in Germany. I saw that in the chat. That's great. I can confirm I don't believe this is Tyreek Hill's dog that's in your backyard.
Yes, question about that. Yeah, no signs of that in any form. Okay. So yeah,
okay.
If it is, I'll ask him kind of what's up. You know, I mean, again, this dog's moving pretty well. I imagine that chasing this dog with a surgically repaired knee still in the process would probably be a challenge. So if it does turn out that this is Tyreek Hill's dog, I will report that on Tuesday.
Now, for those of you that are disappointed that Seth's not here, let me rest assured tell you it's definitely Jazz related. Secondly, and that's a good thing, not a bad thing.
Sean said Seth had to go back to patrol Suplex City.
And because he's become such an absolute gym rat, he has recused himself from the one corner of this podcast that is absolutely necessary during the months of February and August, he recused himself. Just said, you know what? I can't do this anymore. I can't talk another minute about Rashee Rice and his off the field transgressions. I can't do it. I want to take my wife somewhere and not have to deal with, understandably and appreciatively, the litany of questions as it relates to a civil lawsuit that is happening in Dallas that I wish we had more details, kids, but sure. I guess I'm our last great hope.
Yes. That you are, and you've written about it with Michael Rothstein over on ESPN.com, which I appreciate because it saves me from having to read another TMZ story. I just can't, we've talked about this, I just can't stand the way they write things. But they had, we've done it before, we've covered it. So you might be thinking, oh, am I listening to an old episode? Josh and Renee found a lost dog and there's a new civil suit with Rashee Rice. Nope, this is 2026 and we're here again in some ways. I will just make the note at the top. I don't think we're going to end up having this is our first topic today. This will not be our main topic today. I just don't think we end up having quite enough to go off of, but you can read the details over on ESPN. Nate, what do you think is noteworthy? I'll just give the news lead here directly from your story, which is that an ex-girlfriend of Kansas City Chiefs receiver Rashee Rice has filed a lawsuit in Texas alleging he repeatedly assaulted her during an 18-month span from 2023 to 2025. Dakota Jones, who said she was pregnant during many of the alleged assaults, is seeking more than $1 million. Then a history of abusive behavior throughout that process with some specifics there as well. What do we need to know about, or frankly, I guess, what else do you know at this point? We know the Chiefs have said they're aware, and the NFL was supposedly looking into it from that Instagram post, which this would be directly related to, correct?
Correct. Yeah, we saw, sometimes these things go backwards. We saw the physical evidence through photography before the documentation, right? Sometimes, or I should say most times, I think Seth would agree with me, most times you might see documentation before you actually see, physical evidence, whether that be photography, video, or anything else of the like. So once it was, and I think I shared this in the group chat, but once it was clear that Dakota removed those photos, which, as we've said before, based on this, allegation, looks terrifying and horrifying and whatever words you want to use. On top of that, once those photos were taken away, it was becoming quite clear to me that there was going to be some form of documentation. It just was a matter of what and to what length and to what is all described involved. This is not criminal. This is civil. It's going to take probably some time. There's always the chance that these two parties can come to an agreement at a later date. She's asking for $1 million. I can tell you definitively, Rashee Rice does not have $1 million. I got statements from his attorneys, and they pointed to an affidavit that I did not know of before in relation to an event in October. And basically what their statement was trying to say is, hey, this person who is, presenting this lawsuit, she may not be as credible as the lawsuit suggests that she is. That is ultimately what their statement is trying to get at. I have not seen the affidavit. It'll be fascinating to know when that might come to light and if that might give us better clarity of the he said, she said of this lawsuit. From the NFL standpoint, and I said this today on 96.5 The Fan in Kansas City, excuse me. We've talked about this before, Josh. If you put anyone in danger of any kind, domestic or, otherwise, you are violating or in violation of the NFL's personal conduct policy. Being a repeat offender comes with a harsher violation in terms of a suspension. I think I said on 96.5 The Fan, okay, if the league, because of the multi-car crash that Rashee Rice was involved in and fled, and it was on video. And he, a few days later, acknowledged that he was the driver of, basically a drag race on a major highway in, the metropolitan Dallas area. Based on all those factors, the NFL wanted 12 games. And there was going to be some sort of agreement. Okay, do we want to go to, an arbiter? What does Roger Goodell want? What does the Players Association want? It basically got down to a 6-game, hey, this is mostly boilerplate. And honestly, 6 games happens quite a lot for, abuse alleged incidents, whether they are proven to occur or they're even, there's the the overall appearance of it, right? We've said this before in the past, the league likes to let the legal process play out. But if the legal process doesn't come to a conclusion, the league itself can just say, hey, this was not worthy. This is within our, obviously rules. It's in association with the Players Association. So therefore, here's a standardized 6 games. That's essentially what we got to with Rashee Rice, and he accepted that. Go ahead, Josh.
Charles Omenihu had a 6-game suspension. I was just double checking that, and it led me to a tweet from by Nate Taylor.
Hey,
to reemphasize the point, like that, the Omenihu thing just feels so long ago.
Correct.
It wasn't that long ago, but
and to my knowledge, there was no video, no photographs, police reports, slightly different than in this case. But the league, and again, no real conclusion as to like what really happened. They still gave him 6 games. So, from the league standpoint, based on this just being more than the Charles Omenihu situation, based on this being a second sort of repeat violation, one can surmise that a suspension, if given down, would be in the multi-10 game sort of realm, right? 10, 12 games. So I just want to remind people of that from a football standpoint. The Chiefs will and really don't have to do anything right now. They will, adhere to the league. The league is doing its own investigation. I'm not sure if the league has actually interviewed Dakota. That's, again, something that we're also trying to figure out and find out. She may have been advised to not, talk to the NFL right now. That may change, in time. So, again, it's ongoing. We don't want to spend a ton of time on it, but everything points to, oh boy, 2026 is basically all that Rashee Rice has guaranteed to him as a football player right now. And much of that season could be forfeited through a suspension as a second violation of the personal conduct policy because he put someone in danger. And there's photographs. There's now this documentation of the civil lawsuit. And who in the world knows what's going to happen after the season in terms of his football. The Chiefs, as I said on the radio, will not be, I know fans are like, enough is enough. He ain't worth the headache. He's not worth, this level of every off season. There's something. Why don't they just release him? They're not in season. They have plenty of time for this to sort out. And, most teams, I think, as we've gone through this enough, most teams want to let the league handle the investigation, and they can be better informed by that alongside whatever legal, conclusions come of it. So, I'm sure at the combine next week, whether it's Tuesday, Wednesday, I'm trying to think in terms of the schedule in my head, like Brett Veach, Andy Reid will probably give some comments. It might not be what you want to hear, but the Chiefs don't have to do anything right now. And, the league may conclude its investigation in June, July, August, sometime, either right before or during training camp to maybe hand down a punishment. But this was in no way, shape, or form is this a positive for Rashee Rice.
I mean, it's hard to stitch together a more it's hard to stitch together a more direct plan to completely undermining a long and expensive, high-paid NFL career. You mentioning the second time offense of it all. If that ends up being, if the NFL goes through this and says, yeah, we think this is legitimate enough to hand down another punishment, and you already mentioned this, but just the thing to keep in mind here, this happened around, frankly, something that ended up not being what it looked like originally, with the whole photographer thing in Dallas, where like there was a second go round, and that ended up again. Frankly, I'm fuzzy on the details now. It's been long enough, but that ended up not being exactly what it looked like at the time, I suppose. But I think something Seth talked about then that,
or the photographer was not willing to move forward from a legal standpoint. So it just goes away and we move on with our lives.
And just the thing that I remember Seth talking about around that time that I think most fans have gotten to the point of now is just like you don't get the benefit of the doubt this way. You don't get to point at a, sterling clean record of you as a pillar of the community and say, hey, either like, and I'm going now more vague. None of this is as specific to any of this specific Rashee Rice situation. But if you have something that comes up in your professional life as an NFL player, whatever, you can point back and say, hey, either this isn't true and my past is my evidence, or this is unfortunately true and my past is the evidence that this is the outlier, that this is not who I am, that I made a mistake of some sort. We are a very forgiving society by and large. Like, I know that there's been plenty of talk over many, many years about, what the cost of a very public mistake is. But in this case, in any case, I should say, again, I don't know enough of the specifics around this suit to speak on it in any sort of definitive terms, so I hesitate to do that. But if you have lost that benefit of the doubt, anyone in your life, they lose your benefit of the doubt, the next time something comes across your desk, the first thing you think is probably going to be some form of, man, this guy again? We're talking about, or we're talking about something like this again? So, and
I mean, Seth will say this.
Right.
And I want to repeat something that Seth said last offseason, right? Thank the Lord no one died. And, thank the Lord that the crash was not as worse as it could have been. You also want to say, thank goodness that, not his fault from a player situation. Hey, at least he has a chance to come back. He rehabbed well. He got back on the field. He has a chance to redeem himself coming off the injury, understanding that I won't say last year was a contract year, but it was very pivotal as to how his career was going to move on. So on top of that, because it's a because no one got killed, and thankfully because he did admit guilt and he did admit fault, a few days after, okay, to your point, we are a forgiving society. Hey, you're gonna get punished. You're gonna have to accept whatever form of that punishment is. And then it's going to come to, okay, here we go. You now have a chance to move your career forward. And obviously, he spoke at numerous occasions about learning from his mistakes. And there are parts of me that genuinely believe, like, yes, he has to understand what he did. And guys, this is far worse. Like, these allegations are abhorrently bad. And so I don't know, and maybe I should say this all the time now, but I don't know if we're going to find the truth to everything. But because of what you said, Josh, the benefit of the doubt or the lack thereof, or the now in the original Instagram post, she said it was for 8 years? I'd have to go back and look at it.
Yeah, it was longer. You're right. It was longer, I think.
So legally, based on whatever these photographs are, the documentation that you can present to a judge in a civil lawsuit, we've now condensed it to 18 months. And yeah, at one point in time during that 18 months, she was pregnant. And it's terrible. And so the last thing I'll say, thank goodness for Tucker D. Franklin. The D stands for finding of files. There was no D there. I'm sorry. he sent out now look, you can go on a number of websites, and this was a 2022, and I've seen this before. I think it's largely not been updated, but a 2022 document of, hey, here's the personal conduct policy. And I always scroll down till we get to the bullet points, and here it is, guys. Actual or threatened physical violence against another person. That includes dating violence, domestic violence, child abuse, and other forms of family abuse. Assault or battery, including sexual assault or other sex offenses. Violent or threatening behavior towards another employee or third party in a workplace setting. Now, okay, we've gotten to one, it seems, that doesn't fit this category based on the allegations. Stalking, harassment, or similar forms of intimidation. Her original post does include that in Instagram. The original Instagram post does sort of include that. And then you get to the bottom and it says conduct that poses a genuine danger to the safety and well-being of another person. That is basically why he got 6 games. And it might be the exact reason why, if he is suspended again, that suspension will be much harsher, because he will have committed the violation of that a second time within the personal conduct policy.
The last thing that I'll say before we spin off into something else here is just you mentioning it as well. And I hope people understand that a pivot to talking about his contract status is a pivot made of frustration and exasperation, and not because I think this is the most important part of the story, because it's not. The most important part is what has been now reported, and if that's true, and if it is true, then what happens after that. But you mentioned, Nate, just like the amount of runway that he had in front of him, where even after the 6-game suspension, if he had played really excellent football, and obviously some of the allegations here are from the past enough to where all the timelines can be a little bit jumbled up.
Murky.
But if you would have come back from a 6-game suspension, played 10 really excellent games of football before going in, and the Chiefs had the utmost confidence that you've been living right off the field since then. This offseason, we'd kicked around a little bit the idea of, like, is there a sneaky extension window in between the 25 and 26 seasons? Because he needs cash for the victims of the car crash with the suits there. We've talked about that. That he's going to have a weird free agent market if he just plays here for the next, again, I think, year and a half back through the 25 and then the upcoming 26 seasons. That there was a way for the Chiefs to kind of say, like, hey, he made a dumb mistake, but everything's gone well since then, and we're going to go ahead and stand by this guy and his talent. And I mean, it's now he enters 2026, as you said. If he plays in these games, he's got a $2 million cap hit, and then he's a free agent next year. And I know that there are NFL players with stuff of all sorts, suspensions and violations and allegations across the board, and guys stay in the league and guys make money if they're good enough. But Rashee Rice was disappointing on the football field last year, and now we're looking ahead of this 2026 season, and it is impossible right now to make a confident guess as to where Rashee Rice will be in week 1, in week 6, in week 12, in week 18. You just can't know.
Right.
You can be rooting for one thing or the other. You can have every hope, or you can think he's important to the offense, or you can be ready to move on in a heartbeat. But it's completely unknown now. To your point, you could be in St. Joe. He could be running with the ones in St. Joe. I don't know that he's going to be. I'm just saying that's a possibility.
Yep.
He could be running with the ones in St. Joe, and then during the preseason, we could get the news that he's been suspended for the season. That is a possibility, and that's where you end up when you lose the benefit of the doubt that way and have your second offense and all of that. So again, we'll just see where it goes. We've talked about it a bunch. It's very hard to navigate while being fair and level-headed and having a real fraction of the information. But if you're a Chiefs fan, you need to know that the number one wide receiver status, once again, is in question. So that'll end up impacting how we talk about the draft. Even if there's no new news between now and the draft, receiver at 9 feels just as much of a need as anything.
I thought I had a real strong stance, Josh, when I was saying that, hey, it's pass rush and nothing else at the top of the board. Well, if you want to argue that it's receiver and nothing else at the top of the board, I'm not going to argue with you.
Yep. It's hard to do. All right, well, let's go ahead and take our break here now. Then we'll come back and we'll talk about some of the more fun stuff, the Patrick Mahomes contract restructuring. You want to talk about Chris Jones, and I do want to hit on a topic about the offensive line, which is mostly set with one question. We'll do that here on the other side of the show right after this.
I'm BJ Kissel, founder and CEO of KC Sports Network. Emprise Bank has been with us from the beginning. They were our first network partner, and they believed in the vision of what we were building from the start. I can't speak to any other banks or companies and how they operate, but I can tell you from personal experience and based on the growth of the network you're listening to right now, that if you have banking needs, call our friends at Emprise Bank. We've worked with so many great people there over the years, from Vicky and Aggie to Andrea, Lori, Jackie, Deb, and Aaron, and not to mention so many others that not just supported KC Sports Network, but supported our KCSN Foundation as well. But the best thing that I know is that if I have a question or a problem, no matter how dumb the question is, I know who I'm going to call and who I'm going to talk to. And I know that I'm getting an answer from someone that I can trust. And I know that person is there to help us. That's why Emprise Bank has always been and continues to be our partner in Possible. And they can be yours too. You just have to reach out. If you have a banking need, whether it's business or personal, hit me up. I will connect you directly with the same people that have helped us build KCSN. And that's our friends at Emprise Bank.
All right, we got salary cap space to work with here, Nate. The Chiefs converted $44 million of Patrick Mahomes' base salary and a $10 million roster bonus into a fully guaranteed roster bonus. That then gets prorated, and that creates $43.56 million in cap room. That is from NFL.com's write-up. I think Jason Fitzgerald of Over the Cap had the news there first. I love that there are like two guys who know all of the NFL salary cap moves. They understand how it all works. Yeah. It's like, hey, has Over the Cap or Spot Track said anything yet? All right, exactly. Great, we're good to go. Yeah. We need experts in that field. But so yeah, that then prorates the bonus out the remaining years of the deal. His next year's salary cap hit is higher, and then they'll restructure again and they'll spread it again. And that is the effect of a deal as long and as locked in as Mahomes' deal is. So that's the easy first move of the offseason, right, Nate?
Yes, and it gives them a little bit of a shadow of like, what are they gonna do next? Because technically they're still not under the cap.
Yeah, right.
Which is hilarious. But we all knew this was coming. I said it yesterday on SportsCenter that like the interesting part about this is they did it as early as they've done it. Ever before, once we understood what guaranteed mechanisms were in the original 10-year extension, that was honestly unprecedented. Because of that now, okay, hey man, and I want to make this very clear. Patrick Mahomes' rehab has gone pretty well. So let's cut you a check. Make sure you stay on top of it. Enjoy the time with the family. Continue to do what you've been doing. But hey, last year just wasn't exciting in free agency because the day started and we jumped out and we got Jalen Moore for 2 years, $30 million. Well, you know what? We don't want to do that this time. We want to have something more explosive, something more exciting. Maybe we sign someone that actually gets the ball in their hands from time to time. They did take a pretty large chunk out of it. And again, they have several moves that we can get into very quickly that can allow them to really be serious players on day one of free agency. And so, hey, we all knew Mahomes was going to be on the roster in 2026. Let's just do it now. And at the same time, oh boy. This man's going to get dragged all off season. And you know what? It's not his fault. Hey, I was coming back after my hamstring fell off. But yes, Sean, we want more Elijah Mitchell sightings. Dog, remember when Elijah Mitchell's wife was like, it's not him?
Yeah. I forgot about that, but I remember now.
Like, hey man, they playing Clyde over you. What's going on? And his wife's like, it's not us. Man, last season was weird.
So weird.
So yeah,
I'm gonna have to. We got to pledge that in September, like early September, before the season actually starts, we got to come back and do another show going through that piece Seth wrote of like whatever it was, the 75 weird things of this Chiefs season, just so we can go like, holy smokes, man, I forgot about Elijah Mitchell or whatever. It won't be Elijah Mitchell. We're gonna remember him in Chiefs lore forever. And Christian Fulton might be a starting cornerback next year. So who's to say?
Right.
So what other moves called to you here? Juwan Taylor. Well, the Juwan Taylor thing is we don't even need to necessarily flip the graphics around. I'll leave it to Tucker's twinkling fingers there. But you and Maddie Lane on 21 Questions had a question about Juwan Taylor that I thought was interesting, that maybe we've mentioned like once somewhere very much in passing, which was, hey, is Juwan Taylor a tradable asset? Like when you think about the second move of the offseason, cutting Juwan Taylor frees up $20 million in cap savings and has a $7 million dead cap hit, which, just think about the mechanisms here, that is a prorated signing bonus. So that money's Juwan Taylor already has that money. It's just on the cap. So they can save $20 million by cutting Taylor, and it seems like that's going to happen. But he did have a good year last year. Now, the issue, I'm guessing, and you and Matt talked about this some, but the issue is if you want to trade Juwan Taylor, you need to find a team that, frankly, Juwan Taylor's worth $20 million to somebody. I think that in a league that needs tackles as bad as it does, it's not a terrible number for Taylor. The problem is you have to hold him and that cap number until you trade him away. So if you don't cut him before free agency, you can't use that $20 million. So what? And if it wasn't for Jalen Moore, I actually wonder if we'd be having a different conversation about Juwan Taylor and going like, man, would you try a little restructure? Would you? But I guess they could restructure Juwan Taylor and see if Jalen Moore has trade value. And then Esapole, as we've talked about, really good developmental piece, maybe an okay swing tackle. You mentioned on 21 Questions that the Titans game did still happen, and there's reason to be optimistic about Esapole. It would be more fair, in my opinion, to not be penciling him into the starting lineup in St. Joe. So what do you think about the right tackle conversation, since that's tied in so heavily to the cap?
Yeah, one of the best parts about Esapole, and Maddie Lane mentioned this, like he's almost exclusively left tackle, but hey, part of growing as a player is being a more developmental guy, and that means being a candidate for swing. The funny thing is, I don't think you can argue no player had a better swing between like, wow, that was really bad against the Titans. Wow, that was really good against the Broncos. What?
Yeah.
Like, what?
You're an undrafted rookie. That have the upswings. I don't have a bad game. You're an undrafted rookie. You were a Jet fine. 6 months ago.
Yeah, that's fine. But it was just like, the gap was like, yo. So if now, as I said earlier, okay, well, why are we cutting him a check on February 18th when we could have cut him a check, I don't know, like March 6th? Now, this is me speculating, or at least it's a little bit of a hypothesis. You could, because everybody knows it. Hey, probably gonna release him. It's gonna save us money. But hey, if you want to get out in front of the market, and if you can convince, and this is the big if, hey, come aboard here and let's convince you, kind of like what we did with Joe Thuney. We'll bring you aboard. You won't even get to free agency. Here's a 5th round pick. We do not care. I would, most teams will trade a 5th round pick for a legitimate starting player, regardless of position. And why don't we just cut that up and get you that new 3-year deal that at least keeps you on the roster for 2 years? Because that is essentially what the Chicago Bears did. Now, Joe Thuney will be in the Hall of Fame. He is an all-pro. He is a robot. He's incredible. No one should have won the. I thought Creed Humphrey had a good chance to win the inaugural Protector of the Year award, and then I realized Joe Thuney was in it, and I said, well, it's like first ballot. You can't get in. That guy's here. So
I bet Creed was like, he deserves that. He's arguably the greatest interior offensive lineman of this generation. If you take account for team success and all of that, there's a lot of. I'm not making him 1-1, but like he's up there.
Hey, I don't think any interior offensive lineman in the league is having Mike Sando write legitimately 800 words about him in the Athletic.
It's just Jason Kelsey. He almost doesn't count. You know,
but he's not in the league. He's not in the league right now.
Right.
So
active, absolutely.
Yeah. So that was fun, but
Juwan Taylor is also 28 years old.
Correct. He is a tradable asset if you can coach him up. If you can, the Indiana Bears is hilarious. If you can, restructure things, or hey, let's we've retained you, rip it up, sign something new. And look, the Chiefs need draft capital. We all know that. So they should go through the due diligence of calling all teams, even, I don't know, call the Raiders. I don't even care. Do the Raiders need a right tackle? I don't know. But like,
everybody kind of needs a right tackle. That's the thing, right?
Yeah,
like that is what makes this not silly.
Right.
Everybody needs another tackle.
And you did sign Jalen Moore, and I'm of the belief, hey, you signed Jalen Moore for this moment, right? For him to potentially get a starting gig in 2026. Then Josh Simmons happens. But hey, you think he's talented enough that you can, again, coach him up to be a worthy starting tackle on the opposite end for 2026 at a reduced cost to Juwan Taylor. And so those things are all interesting, but the Chiefs can. Okay, here we go, guys. I should really have these dates down, and it's really bad of me. It's only my job.
This dictates your life in a way that is really like all right. Well, here's when I'm in Indianapolis.
Yeah. So the new league year starts on March 11th, guys. March 11th. Now, really, it starts Tuesday. The negotiation window is March 9th. So whatever. By basically, let's say March 6th, March 7th, you can pitch Juwan Taylor to your heart's content, and if no one takes him, you did your due diligence, and then you can release him. Hey, all of a sudden, here's $20 million in cap savings on top of some of the other things that they can do, and most likely will do in between that time before the new league year starts. So it's a thought that maybe not many people have talked about, but it is a viable, it is a viable part of like where the offseason is that, is more underground than maybe, the more alluring, sexy options, Tyreek Hill than most people are willing to talk about.
Okay, so there we've served our right tackle conversation. What about the other moves here, kind of on the precipice? Any of these that are just like absolute no-brainers you think is clearly on the way? Mike Dana is a $2 million dead cap hit to free up almost $9 million. Drew Tranquil at $7.5 million, you'd free up $6 million. I would think that his value is probably kind of around there. Much like Christian Fulton, where you'd free up only $5 million and have 8 dead. I think Christian Fulton is probably worth $5 million on the open market, and if that's what we're talking about here. Any of those really obvious to you, and then any surprise cut candidates way too early? We're not in training camp conversation yet, but
by the way, as we do this, I want to acknowledge everyone you just mentioned is a Super Bowl champion. And that can never be taken away from them. And they played at the absolute peak of their profession and were successful. And in
important roles.
Yeah, in very important roles to fortify the league's newest dynasty.
Yep.
Mike Dana should be released. If you're really focused on trying to get as much cap space and youth, you probably want to grit your teeth, bite your tongue, scratch all the walls, because all these guys are like amazing players too, in terms of like locker room culture, coachable, teachable. You probably want to cut Drew Tranquil. And
both of their contracts, just for the record, were basically designed for this. Both of their contracts were 2 years of real money that really matters, and then in 2026, unless you take a big leap, we're gonna part ways here. It's not quite a void year; it's a team option year, if you will.
Yes, exactly. It's such a great way of saying it, and that's why it's so tough because Mike Dana is he's an example of the injuries piling up and you just not getting back to the form you had. For Drew Tranquill, I think it's just very serviceable player, but it's a business, and this is where the money gets really difficult. And for all the fans that want to see Jeffrey Bossa on the field, you can't usually have one without the other. And so that's where that sort of comes into play. Again, if you cannot trade Jawaan Taylor for a 5th-round pick, even if you can't trade him for a 6th-round pick, and that might be because Jawaan Taylor wants to get to the market. So you could say, yeah, you could trade for me, but I'm going to play on that deal, which would desensitize anybody to want to trade for him. So, okay, if he gets a free agency, those are all those things that can happen. Which leads us to a gentleman that I have a great deal of appreciation for as someone who is living the desert that is news outside Rashee Rice and eagerly awaiting my arrival in Indianapolis, Indiana, and that is Christopher Jones, who continues to be the gift that keeps on giving in the Chiefs offseason. I know that someone's listening to this show or watching, or even Maple, is suggesting that Chris Jones only going to be on the roster when Chris Jones is out here recruiting. How dare you, ma'am, sir? Hey, what Chris Jones doing? Always be recruiting. Hey, you want to know who DeAndre Hopkins talked to 2 years ago before he put on the jersey? Chris Jones. Hey, how did Mike Pennell come back and just magically be better than Derek Nottie? Chris Jones.
Great point.
I mean, Chris Jones got Tyreek Hill thinking about playing football for the Chiefs, and you don't want him on the roster because of his contract?
I mean, he currently does have about a $45 million cap number for 2026.
No, baby.
I'm just reading the spreadsheet as well. It's just $45 million. It's just, I mean, that's a lot of money.
Hey. Cut him a check, and let's keep it moving.
That was going to be the actual follow up. Was like, did they just get a restructure done and just like make this easy? Because look, here's the thing where like the Mahomes restructure is very easy. And everyone's like, yeah, go ahead and restructure Patrick Mahomes. He'll be here next year, and then also for the next as many years as he wants to play football, he'll be here for eternity. So we're just gonna like let that happen. But with Chris Jones, 2026 is his age 32 season, and right now he would have you'd have basically a 50-50 split cap hit in 2027, and then in 2020, I'm just going to mute Nate. Nate, I'm just going to mute you until this conversation's over. I don't know what Hayden said, but I can just hear him talking, and I'm sure it's important. As his contract stands right now, Chris Jones is firmly with the team through 2027, because if you were going to cut him then, you'd have as much dead money as you'd have cap savings. He'd have to just like, I mean, it'd have to be terrible. So in 2028, though, right now, it's a number that you would move on from if he's not performing at a very, very high level. If you restructure that, are you getting into straight up void year territory? Are you just kind of doing several expensive options? Because if you do restructure, he's definitely on the team the next 2 years, and it's probably going to significantly increase the odds he's on the team for the next 3 years. So I'm not fundamentally against, but right now those cap numbers, respectively, are about 45, 38, and 45.
Now, Josh, you know this. They could have signed him 2 years earlier, and this wouldn't have been an issue. But
I have a couple of contract negotiations that I think about occasionally, Nate.
But we could have did this already. No, the Hayden was telling me about an accomplishment that he had today. It was great. it involves tennis, my life is complete.
Oh, that's awesome. Can I give a quick life update here just to close the circle from early on?
Yes.
Renee ended up taking the dog over to KC Pet Project, and KC Pet Project said a dog matching the description was reported missing this morning. So they're taking her there. They're going to reunite if it's their dog, and they'll put it on the lost and found list if it isn't. So if you thought that was your dog from the open right now, she is now happily in the great care of Casey Pet Project, and hopefully it's not your dog, and somebody already knows it's their dog, and we're all one step away from a beautiful reuniting between dog and person. So there's a dog update along with Hayden's tennis update. What a day we're having.
And an ongoing news story that I actually want to see continue to ongoing.
For real.
So the best part in all of this for Chris is, and again, this man has said on record, on wax, I will never play for another team. And you wanna cut him for cap, for this imaginary cake called salary cap. This man is actively recruiting Travis Kelce year 14, but no, I need more salary cap. I need more. I mean, I wish Seth was here to hear this bit, or hopefully he sees it or hears it at some point. The other thing is, guys, he's your best defensive player.
Yeah.
We cannot be February 19th and already be in the mind warp that is, you know what we should do? Should just get rid of everybody. I'm not now. Obviously, I'm over exaggerating, but
we're having that conversation about their second best defensive player too,
which I'm on the record of saying probably wouldn't trade him. But you could have gave him $30 million last year, and this wouldn't be a problem.
I'm not going to say the names of any other players who we're not already talking about, because I don't want people to get mad at me today.
Well, you see, they had to sign him because, like the Mind Frayer, he controls everything else.
like the Mind Flayer, ultimately a little bit disappointing up close. That was more of a Stranger Things take than a take about any Chiefs defensive player.
He's the can we give him the Mind Frayer nickname? I really just thought about this.
It's very good. Yeah, it's very good. I'm at least willing to let him be a Demogorgon, but no, I think the Mind Flayer might be right. I think that might be Tucker. Can you go put a custom jersey nameplate on your Chiefs linebacker jersey? Can we get a custom one that instead of saying his God-given last name, it just says Mind Flayer? I think that's awesome.
I mean, he's so cerebral. He's so intelligent. His instincts have instincts.
No, it's very funny. It's a very good nickname.
I kind of want to say it to his face now.
I think it could be a complimentary one too. Yeah.
Oh, it completely is. I mean, how is anybody gonna line up?
Can he get in and disrupt the headsets of opposing offenses or something? We got to be able to make that work.
Yeah, that would be incredible. Yeah, let's take it to the next step. Can he get in Joe Brady's mind and tell him to not call good plays?
Joe's gonna do that on his own. We need him to get like a face mask. It obviously can't have like tendrils pointing out because that would be very dangerous. But like we need to start legalizing more of the cool face masks that we used to have in. I think college football has a bunch of weird ones. Although the Bills got to do those snowflake ones for
which was cool. Honestly,
it was great. Yeah. I think Clyde was the first guy on the Chiefs to really take hold of the like Power Ranger look. I would like more diverse face masks, and I would like to give Nick Bolton or any Chiefs
or anybody
green dot a Mind Flayer face mask. I think that's an excellent idea.
So because of this, and this is the way the contract was structured, and he's still a very, very good player. Now, he wasn't an all-pro this season, but again, we saw a little bit of dip in Travis Kelce in 2024 and a nice little bump up in 2025. Mm-hmm. So there's more than a possibility that can happen for Chris Jones. You got to restructure the contract. You got to cut that thing up, create more cap space, And I don't know, guys, get him someone who can rush the passer next to him.
Yeah.
And George Karlaftis.
Well, and you need more from him too. I mean, that's just something else that's going to have to come with hopefully him being healthier next year. It's very hard to be a defensive end with a busted thumb. I don't want to say broken. I don't know if we ever got broken, but like that was clearly something was wrong there.
I was as close to it as maybe offensive lineman. This is post game, obviously, and it never. I remember. I think I saw the production of it post game in Dallas on Thanksgiving. And remember, kids, that's 2 games in 5 days.
Yeah,
it looked gnarly.
It looked like the Mind Flayer, actually.
It looked like a Demogorgon. Stuff.
It was like bubbling tar or something. I don't know. They should have really. Like, it seems like the Chiefs have great training staff members and everything. But somebody be like, "Hey, Julie, George's hand is breathing. What?
What?
It has a breath. I don't know."
Yeah.
Imagine him coming back with like tentacle hands, though. That would be.
Yeah,
I mean, that's
a
worst nightmare for an offensive lineman. How do you stop that?
Guys, each one of you in the comments that has mentioned Derek Nottie, just gold. Every single one of them is gold. And again, Derek Nottie, Super Bowl champion.
3 times.
3 times. By the way, Derek Nottie, injuries piling up on the body.
I know we've had this conversation about several guys, but Derek Nottie is one of the players, might be the player who I really hope gets to outlive like this weird 2025 season.
Please.
Because he was a good and the only good draft pick of that inaugural Brett Veach draft class. Yep. He just seemed like a prince of a guy. I mentioned KC Pet Project earlier. Dude could not stop just like doing good work with local animal welfare and everything. Like, and he was a good football player.
Really
if he would have just been signed back for a 1-year deal, and Mike Pennell was still on the roster, it would just be another part-time, another step down in overall workload and everything for him. But I hope a lot of these guys end up, and usually this happens.
And remember,
but I hope we remember their peaks and not 2025, which was no one's peak.
Yes, the improvement Nottie made between year 1 and year 2 was really, really cool because year 2 ended in them winning the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I want to say this for Derek on Derek Nottie's behalf as his defense attorney. All of a sudden,
same actually. We're both. I'll put on a tie since that's not here.
It's not my client's fault that they told Mike Pennell to kick rocks, and it's also not my client's fault that the coaching staff told the guy that we drafted, "Hey, as Seth says, go eat 30 pounds worth of steak and come back and get back to us." And it's not my client's fault that the coaching staff didn't play that player enough early in the season because my guy wore down. Because again, injuries piling up on the body. And he looks, and the only guy next to him is Jerry Tillery.
Yeah. Yeah.
No wonder he was 119 out of 119. He had no days off. And again, his body couldn't take it. I mean, it's unfortunate. But yeah, it's
also played 8 years of defensive tackle at the NFL level. I don't remember. I think it was probably a junior when he came out. I don't remember, but he's been playing high level football for more than a decade. Yeah, if Derek Nottie has no defenders, I am dead.
So, and again, genuinely incredible human being. The best part of all this is I remember like one thing I'll never get out of my head out of this weird of a season last year is not only the Elijah Mitchell of it all, but Pro Football Focus being like, I mean, can't we just say like 101 out of 119? Nah, put him on blast.
Yeah,
he's dead last, and it's like, ooh, that's bad, guys. But circumstance and like, the situation. My God, he's always getting double teamed because his body hurts.
I went to just check, so I was thinking, you know what? I haven't followed Tucker down the like eBay rabbit hole that he lives in now, but I was thinking, you know what? I'd wear a Derek Nottie jersey. Like I'd flip that around backwards, wear a Derek Nottie jersey on the podcast. That seems fun. But man, you know what though? Like all of this applies to like an elite player in Tampa Hali. Like that's another number 91. Did we go straight from Hali to Nadi? And we did. But I was like, wait a second. Nadi wore 92 last year. Who wore 91? I was like, was that Ashton Gelati? No, I think he was 97. Did somebody change? No, number 91 last year was FAU, which is why I don't remember. Unfortunately, I had to check because he didn't play any games.
Injuries piling up. That's the NFL. Just injuries piling up. The other thing I was going to say about, look, Your Honor, my closing case for Derek Nadi is the coaching staff did him a disservice. Much like the coaching staff did a disservice to a lot of players last year.
Yeah, I hope the coaching staff also isn't remembered by the 2025s. Again, I hope I'm not remembered by my performance in 2025. Did I have a couple of good games? Sure. But man, not a lot of high water marks for anyone last year, which is such a weird feeling because I don't know. I think we've kind of walked this line all offseason. We're going to keep doing it. It's still kind of hard to just acknowledge that last year the Chiefs were not a good football team. And like that's not actually controversial. It kind of feels like it should be. It's not. They were 6-11 and they looked it. I mean, they were a 500 football team in the best of times. With like relative health and everything. What a weird year.
To your point, which is great and completely agree. I also had to tell myself, Josh, that it was Thanksgiving Day. The Chiefs were 6-5, and they never won another game.
That's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. They played on Thanksgiving and Christmas and in 2026, and they won no games in that time period. And I'll tell you what, man. Again, if you want a little silver lining, friends. Thank God for that, because look, I would have much rather had a playoff push and a healthy Patrick Mahomes, but the way things went, thank goodness we're not talking about them picking 16th, because I think at 16 you're going, okay, well, all the top shelf linemen are gone, and top 3 receivers are probably all gone, and Jeremiah Love's gone, and holy smokes, Caleb Downs is gone. Are we taking a corner? So 9 does ultimately. I was very curious to see how this would pan out. 9 does feel pretty good right now because with Mendoza going 1, I feel like I can build you a list of 8 players I'd be happy to have at that position. And even if you account for the linemen who are almost certainly going to go before the Chiefs, I think I could narrow that down to a pretty good 5 or 6. So thank goodness they ended up there, although no one had any fun getting there.
No.
Great question by Sean. How did Jets fans do it? Losing sucks. I don't know. How did we do it? We did it for a very long time.
Comedy is how you get through it.
True.
You swing violently between comedy and like borderline morbid depression.
Yes.
You just go back and forth.
Yeah.
As a fan.
That's what I do. What about Jets fans? Bang!
Yeah, exactly. And I'm sorry, I am someone who has tried to try to get the the catchphrase that real football don't start till Thanksgiving.
You took a huge hit last year, man. Huge. I feel great because I've been selling that stock since the moment you introduced it, since your first public offering. Yes. Your IPO was out. I was like, no, I don't like this take. I rebuke this take. And then last year it finally plummeted.
Yeah, it was
the bubble burst.
It was not. It wasn't great. The only thing worse about last year is if I had said something truly indefensible about how bad Sam Darnold was, and then all of a sudden Sam Darnold's just playing well in the playoffs, had a ring, and it's had one of the more really cool redemptive arcs that we've had in the modern era. I mean, in some ways, I think Sam Darnold's story is even more impressive and I think should be appreciated even more so than Nick Foles, because Nick Foles only had to do it for a short amount of time, and it really was lightning in a bottle. And that ESPN 30 for 30 on the Philly special is genuinely great. But Sam Darnold, the Vikings said, "We don't want you.
We got 9."
And then he won the Super Bowl. Now, obviously, an amazing defense, great coaching staff. It's a team sport, but still, he played a major part in it. And I think the more I've gotten away from the game, I start to realize that, like, no, that was – he tried to throw the ball to him. Let's be fair. He tried to throw the ball to him, but they didn't catch it. And so he played well, and they won. Good for him. I told you y'all was going to miss Patrick Mahomes in the postseason.
Oh, so bad. But you're right, though, about Darnold. I think sometimes we can't do anything but talk about the quarterbacks, and that makes us all a little bit dumber, right? Where it's just like, well, if the quarterback plays good, they're going to win. Like, well, no, it is a team sport.
It's a team sport.
But playing quarterback is so freaking hard, man. It is so impossibly difficult.
Dude.
It's just... And I get to say this having never, had a GoPro on Patrick Mahomes' helmet or anything, but like the very few clips we get into that, and then also just understanding the sport well enough to realize the degree of difficulty happening around you. You can't, I can't make jokes about original run Joe Flacco. I'm not making jokes about Sam Darnold because they did an impossibly hard thing, and they weren't supposed to be the guy to do that. Like that, that's impressive in its own way. Where like. They're not Patrick Mahomes, but it is impressive in a way that Patrick Mahomes now can't be because he's him. He's maintaining that standard instead of overcoming the disbelief. So it's all, I don't know, man. Football's great, and it's tough that it's February 19th, and we're both starting to yearn a little bit. Like, oh man, I'm thinking about the Super Bowl again. Like St. Joe's real far away.
It is, but I mean, look, man, we're so close. This is basically the end, Tucker. I can smell it. My nostrils are on fire. The senses, Josh. When I go to St. Elmo's and that shrimp cocktail hits, and that horseradish goes through my entire system like the mind frayer. I'm telling you, dog. We back, baby. We're so back. Indianapolis is my second home. Shout out to my guy Ross Sawyer. Hopefully I'll get to see him. Look, man. I don't know who I'm gonna see, but the next week, as we all know, is one of my favorite weeks because I can really tell you about elaborate, immaculate scenes that can only happen at 2:30 in Indianapolis. I'll never forget again, Bill O'Brien.
It's my favorite Drake song.
2 a.m. in Indianapolis.
2:30 a.m. in Indianapolis. Very specific.
I need a steak and shake in the lyrics if that's gonna happen. But look, my goal, and I know this was in the comments. My goal is to come back with a bag of fun stories from the combine, and then also tell you who you should start to look at because I know Seth he's dipped his foot in the waters already. I think we know who he's going to look at next. Yep. He catches the football, interestingly enough, and I do because my son is 10 now. I do want to be like, okay, this is what scouting is. You're not gonna do any of the interviews. You're not gonna do any of this. All 22. Click through it. Just click through it. Click through it. Click through it. No. What? No homework? No, this is work. Click through it, man. Click through it. Hey, Caleb Downs. Give me more Caleb Down third down cuts. Because then I want Hayden to come here on camera and give you his 10-year-old opinion. Because again, he called Xavier Worthy like the day before it happened. And that was
I want to know who Hayden thinks is good. I want to know who he sees pop off the screen.
He kind of has an eye, kids. Obviously it's easy when the guy's super duper fast. But hey, he can run with the football really well.
Hey, if it's so easy, he should be the GM of the Bills.
I can't.